Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Bob.
Kelly, can I start by asking you what are your subjects and why you chose them?
Yes. So my subjects are history and art. I have a background in majoring in history, and I'm very passionate about art. So.
Okay, thank you very much. So thinking back to your last practicum in school, can you tell us about a lesson that went really well and why you thought it went well?
Yeah. So I guess specifically social studies. I'm teaching ancient medieval history right now. And I'm doing lessons on the Roman Empire and the Punic Wars. And so I'm able to really engage my students with what's going on in the wars. And I guess that age, grade 10, they're really interested in studying the wars. And so I'll introduce them to the topic, I'll instruct for a bit, but then I'll get them to reflect on it and have discussions on the different battles and who they thought would have won and different scenarios. So I guess a good lesson is just when I can tell that they're really engaged and they leave the class still talking about it. So.
That's a good definition, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you tell us about a lesson that you've taught that actually didn't go quite so well and what you learned from it?
Yes. So one specifically that comes off the top of my mind is a lesson in art. And this is grade 10 art. So we were doing a unit on sculptures. So we were using clay to reproduce a Tim Burton inspired sculpture. So we had the students start by doing their sketch and then creating a form out of tinfoil and wire. And then they would cover the form in the clay. And then overnight we'd let it dry. So they spent an hour sculpting it and everything. And then the students came in the next day and their sculptures had cracked. And they were quite disappointed, and I came to the conclusion that it was probably because the tinfoil was holding air inside, and so overnight the air expanded and cracked the sculpture. So they were quite disappointed, but we made the best out of it. We allowed them to, if they wanted to go back and just redo a small figurine, they could do it. So we worked around it, but it was definitely a good learning experience because it was something that my co-op teacher and I had just done for the first time. So we were able to really build off this lesson. So going into it next time, we'll know to use different materials. So.
Okay, so thinking about that co-op teacher, what do you think she would say are your strongest attributes as a teacher?
Yes. I would definitely say that she would say I'm very flexible. I can be put in different classrooms with a variety of different people, students, staff. And also, I guess she said that I'm confident when I teach. Even if I'm unsure of the stuff that I'm teaching. For example, I was teaching about the Crusades one day, and I had studied so much about it the week prior, getting to know as much as I could, and I was still a little bit nervous to teach it. And after the lesson, she said, "Kelly, you were so confident teaching it, like you rocked it," she said. So yeah, I guess just that confidence, being able to talk about something, and the students really respond well to that, I guess. And I'm also approachable and I'm very patient with my students. So.
Okay, thank you. And what would she say is the area you need to work on?
Yes. So we've had discussions about this after each lesson. We'll kind of do a debrief of my time teaching. And just one of the things that we touched on was just slowing down before we move from one unit or one lesson to the next, just to give students more time to reflect on the lesson. So they have more time to kind of talk about it, just before moving on. So, and that's something that I've worked on, and I think I've done good at managing that. So, yeah.
Okay, excellent. I know you're still in the early stages of your training, of course. But can you tell us a little bit about what you think are the characteristics of a good lesson?
Yes. So I'm very organized with my lessons. I'll plan them, my introduction, my main, and my conclusion of each lesson. So I'll start out each class introducing them to what we're going to be talking about today, kind of a table of contents for the day. And then I'll start by instructing for maybe 20 minutes, and then I'll move on into an activity or a group discussion, some group work, to get them, just so they're not sitting there all class. So I like to differentiate different learning styles in my classroom. And then I am sure to end each class with a reflection, just so that they have time to debrief on today. And often in art class I will say to them, what are some of the troubles you had today with today's art lesson, and what are some of the strengths, and what are some of the things you liked about this lesson? So not only does it give them time to reflect, but it also helps me as a teacher to benefit my own lessons and work off of those. So.
Kelly, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.